Alright, today I'm really excited to show you this new welder that I just picked up. Now this is a 200 amp AC DC welder. I just picked this up for just under $400. So let me show you what's inside the box and then what it can do. So this is the new 200 amp AC DC TIG welder from Hitbox. Now if you're not familiar with Hitbox, they've been around for a long time. And to be honest with you, my very first TIG welder was this DC 200 amp model right here. Now I've had this machine for over 5 years, and while having this, I specifically bought it to do my stainless steel exhaust on my MR2. I also use this to weld all of my roll cages and various other welding frame projects. Now over the years, this machine has never let me down. This thing has always had more power than I ever needed. So the only thing this thing really lacked at the time was the AC mode. Now that was way out of control in the price range for me, so this is what I wound up with. Now, as prices have dropped, this thing is about 400 bucks shipped to my door, and that really makes a good price point. So let's get inside the box and see what's inside. Probably gonna be our box with the torches. We have the unit itself. There's a ground wire and stinger, the instruction owner's manual, as well as a gas hose, which I probably will not be using. And inside this box, we have a really nice looking TIG torch and some beginner consumables. All right, so I just fired this thing up and it's a pretty easy to read display. Now on the top here, we have the difference between you can switch MMA or TIG. Now this changes your functions here as well. It allows you to make your different selections later. So for now, we'll stick with DC. This is for pulse waves. We're gonna leave that on. And this is the 2T or 4T trigger. And that's just a quick toggle to make that difference. Now this is your menu button. It's gonna just cycle through all the different stages of your weld. On the first one, this is the start amps. So I'm gonna add it up to 0.5. We'll move on to the up slope. You can see how you can cycle through that. Now in our TIG, we'll see if we can max this out. And that will go all the way up to 200, but that's extremely unnecessary at the moment, so we'll bring this down to a more reasonable number. Now we can move on to the peak on time. We can change that as needed. Pulse frequency, that's just an easy toggle right here again. Now back to our base amps, so 40 is fine for now. Now since it's not in AC mode, it's going to jump past the AC balance and frequency and go right over to our down slope, so that's at 25. And then our finishing amp is down to 10. Now if we change this over to AC mode, it now opens up the menu for the AC TIG, and it gives us adjustability for AC frequency. We can make the adjustment here. And the AC balance, this is percentage, so this is showing right here, but this green light, that's at 20%, and we can make it down, goes up to a full of 70, and I think we'll leave it for now at 20. So moving on to our connections, this is quite simple. We have our negative lead right here, our gas hookup, and this is what my other machine didn't have, and this is a 5-prong TIG torch lead, so this will activate the foot pedal. My other machine only has a 2-prong, and this is our positive lead side. On the back of the machine, you have your on-off switch, your power plug for 220 volts, 2 cooling fans, and your gas hookup on the bottom. So the next thing you're going to want is this foot pedal controller that they offer. Now this is an additional $79 fee, but I think this is well worth with making some good welds and progressing through welding. Now this plugs right into the front of the machine, just like you would the trigger control. Now this pedal control model also features a dial on the front, which helps you tweak in or dial in your amperage. So if you're running too hot your machine, you can just dial it down here and you'll be able to access what you need from your foot pedal control. All right, now that we got all that out of the way, it is time to start welding. Now we're gonna start off welding in the DC process, and we're gonna start welding some mild steel. Now what I have here is some 16 gauge sheet metal, as well as some 1/8 inch thick plate. And then we're gonna wind up sticking this 120 wall DOM tubing to the top of that. Alright, here's a closer look at that first pass, and that was just with arc initiation and no filler wire. So now we're going to come in with another pass and add filler rod. And there's just a quick look at that second pass with some filler wire added. Alright, here's a closer look at those welds. It's cleaned up a little bit, not too bad for first time using a foot pedal. And again, this is the first time I've been able to weld sheet metal, because previously I didn't have that foot pedal capability. You can see I started off a little rough and got the hang of it there, so that's coming along nicely. Okay, now that we've gone through and done some DC welding, it's time to switch over the machine and try some AC process on this aluminum that I have here. Now starting off, I have some 12 gauge sheet aluminum. Moving over, I now have some 1/8 inch plate. And then at the end, I have some 3/16 inch plate. So now we're gonna start and see how this thing does. All right, there's my first attempt and pass on that sheet aluminum. Now we're gonna step it up to the 1/8 inch. All right, there's the first pass on the 1/8 inch material. Now let's try it again. All right, there's a closer look at how that lap joint turned out. Now let's move over to the 3/16 plate. All right, there's that first pass on that 3/16 inch thick plate. Come out really well. Now let's do a lap joint with it. All right, here's that lap joint. Not bad looking considering this is my first time using this machine and welding aluminum. I'm sure this will clean up with no time. So I just went and found this old piece of 1/4 inch thick aluminum. I cleaned up a little spot here. We're going to try to run a bead and see how the machine does with 1/4 inch. All right, here's a closer look at that 1/4 inch plate. It's just that quick bead that I ran across it. Not bad considering it was some dirty metal. Okay, just another quick look at some work samples. That's the 12 gauge sheet, 1/8 inch all the way up to this 1/4 inch piece right here. All right, so there you have it. This Hitbox HBT250 is an amazing machine. And I gotta say, I specifically bought this because I wanted to have this foot pedal control option, which my other machine did not. Additionally, I have an entire tube chassis frame that I need to weld, and having this will make the world of difference. Now, the most benefit over top is now I have an AC function, so now I can start welding my own aluminum parts and making that to go with my cars. Now you can't beat the just over $400 price tag that this machine with the foot pedal costs. This is a great entry-level machine if you're a hobbyist like myself, or you just want to get into welding. Now I'll leave a link in the description below where you can get one, and as always, thank you for watching and we'll see you in my next video.